So if I put in if I want to put in another sharp here, the first sharp is on this top line here. Then the next one goes down 4 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it winds up here on this. And this now becomes the number 7, and that's the number 3. And if I add another sharp, I'm going to add it in up 5 from there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on this space up here, I'm going to add the next sharp. And now what happened is, this one has moved from 3 to 6. This one has moved from 7 back to 3, and now this is the new 7. So now this top line here, this space, that top space, would now be the number 7. If I want to add another sharp, I'm going to add the new sharp down 4 notes. So here's 1, 2, 3. Right here on this line is where the new sharp would go. And now this new sharp is 7, so now 7 is moved to this line. And believe it or not, this one is now 3, this one is 6, and this one's now the number 2. And what's happening is, you'll see they're jumping over numbers as the sharps are being added in. And as I'm moving in, the new sharp is always the number 7, and then all the others move back by skipping a number. And this will keep going all the way around the wheel until I finally named all 7 of these sharp. And we'll have 1 sharp, 3 sharp, 5 sharp, 7 sharp, okay? And until I have 7 of these guys. And the pattern is always, I put the first one someplace. It could be here, I could put the first one here, I could put the first one here. Doesn't matter where I put the first one. That's the number 7. And then the next one's always going to go in down 4, then up 5, then down 4, then up 5, sorry, down 4, yeah, then up 5. Now here, we're getting up onto we're getting up into these ledger lines. So what they do in a case like that, on this next sharp, if I wanted to come up here, I'd be getting into a ledger line. So instead of going up 5, at this point they go down 4 again and go down here. So here we're going down 4, then we're going down 4 again. So if we add in the sharps going down, we're always going down 4 notes. And if we add in sharps going up, we always add them in going up 5. That pattern goes on ad infinitum forever. Okay. Now, what do you think happens with the flats?
The opposite.
Yeah. Turns out the first flat starts out as the number 4. Okay. When I put in the next flat, the number 4 moves to the number 1. And the new flat that's added in is the number 4. So now I have 2 flats. If I want to add in a third flat, what happens is this one on number 1 moves back to 5, the one that was on 4 moves to 1, and the new flat that comes in as 4. And every time I put in a new flat, it's going to come in as 4, and the others are going to move now clockwise around the wheel, skipping every other one, going around. So it's doing exactly the opposite. With flats, what we're doing is with flats, what we're doing is exactly the opposite. We're putting in a flat right here on this center line, and then what I do is I go up 4 notes to put in the next one. So the next one would go 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next one will go from this line 2, 3, to this space right here. That would be the next flat. And now this space becomes the number 4. Then when I want to put in another flat, I go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I put the next flat on this, right there on that space. And now this is now the number 4, this space is the number 4. If I want to add another flat, I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put it on this line here. Now I put it on that line there. So now this line is the number 4. And if I'm going to add yet another flat, I'm going to go down 5. So I'm going to go from this line here down to this line here. Then if I want to put in another flat, again, I'm going to go up 4. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. Where am I? I got this right, Angel? Because
Yeah.
I'm looking at it upside down. So I go to
C flat.
the C flat, right? 1, 2, 3, right here. So now we're right, that point, that spot there is now the number 4. And again, if I want to put in another one, I go down here to this space here, and now that's the number 4. Then I'd come up to a 4th. And we'd be back to B flat again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the 8th one, go back. So there's 7 flats. And each time I do this, this is the number 4, then that's the number 4, then that's the number 4, that's the number 4, that's the number 4, that's the number 4, that's the number 4. Every time I add a flat and it moves over to the rightmost flat is always going to be the number 4.
4th degree of the scale.
It's always the 4th, yeah. We're always adding in the new note, the new, what they call accidental. We're adding in the new accidental always on the 4th step of the scale when we're using flats, but we're always adding it on the 7th step of the scale when they're adding sharps. So there's only those two numbers. It's either a 4th if it's flat, or it's a 7th if it's a sharp. And we don't have to worry about what happens to all the other ones. They're rotating around this dial in a pattern, but we don't need to know unless we're writing them out ourselves here, and especially upside down. Because the only thing I can go by is by counting the number of lines of spacing. Okay? So you can see any piece of music that has up to 7 flats, or any piece of music that has up to 7 sharps, and you should know that the last sharp or the last flat is either the number 7 or 4, and that's all you gotta know to start labeling music, okay? So now I'm gonna give you, now another thing is, let's say that right here, I put in 1 sharp right there, and this point here is now my number 1, okay? So if I have a note right here, what's the distance from here to that line? Yeah, so this note, if I would put in front of it the number 3. It's the 3rd position in the scale away from this line. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So what would this note be, folks? 5. And then this note would be 4. This note would be, what about this note? Yeah, because now we're going below 1, it switches to 7. And if I went to this line down here, that would be 6. So now I can label this. That's a 3. Now it skips up to 5. Then it goes down to a 4. Then this goes to a 2. Then this goes to a 7. And that goes down to a 6. And now I've numbered that. I've numbered those dots. And once I've numbered those dots, what I've done is uncovered the melody line as intervals, as an interval pattern. It's going to be somewhere in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We're only going to use those 7 notes. And it'll be one of those numbers, okay? So that's our assignment. Our assignment is to get used to this idea